Have you ever wondered what the shortest-lived country in all of history is? Although you may think you know, you may be surprised to see what number 1 is on this list. These are the 10 shortest-lived countries in all of history. Number 10 is the Bavarian Soviet Republic, which survived for a mere 25 days in 1919. Many people don't know this, but after the conclusion of the First World War, Germany was on the verge of a civil war. As Germany fell apart, communist revolutionaries in Bavaria saw their chance to establish a socialist workers' state in Bavaria. As time went on, the soldiers of this fledgling Soviet republic, who were mainly playwrights and intellectuals, struggled to govern their territory. While they did manage to form a Red Army, as well as confiscate luxury apartments, their choices in ministers certainly left a great deal to be desired. For example, the Minister of Foreign Affairs in the Bavarian Soviet Republic had been admitted to psychiatric hospitals on numerous occasions before his appointment. He once even informed fellow communist revolutionary Vladimir Lenin via telegraph cable that the minister-president of the Bavarian Soviet Republic had stolen the key to the ministry toilet. After a grand 25 days in Marxist experimentation, the Bavarian Soviet Republic saw its Red Army crushed by German loyalists. Number 9 is the California Republic, which was a short-lived and unrecognized nation that had total military control over most of the modern-day state of California. The Republic of California, which would only exist for the better part of 25 days, was founded in the spirit of revolution and gunpowder. Before this, however, California was merely a province of the First Mexican Empire. During the later years of the Mexican Empire, many Americans had illegally immigrated to California. The Mexican government was very wary of the ever-increasing numbers of American illegals and passed laws banning all undocumented Americans from owning or even renting property. As a result, the American settlers decided that they should seize California for themselves and launched the now famous Bear Revolt. The revolt was extremely successful, and even a new flag was commissioned for the Republic, which bore the now iconic California grizzly bear. Unfortunately, however, for the rebels, most of their time was spent distributing flags rather than governing, and after forces from the United States Navy arrived, the California Republic immediately surrendered and it became a territory of the United States of America. Number 8 is the Republic of Kuwait, which existed for just 24 days in the year 1990. The Republic of Kuwait was created in the aftermath of the Iraqi invasion of Kuwait in 1990. It was a puppet state of the Ba'athist Iraq, and as a result, it was also a Ba'athist state. The Republic of Kuwait was led by Prime Minister Ala Hussein Ali, who unfortunately did not have very much time to distinguish himself as the leader of this short-lived nation. However, he is noted for accepting and even granting full citizenship to non-Kuwaiti Arabs who had come to Kuwait before the fall of its monarchy. He also created a national holiday known as the Day of the Call, which was to celebrate Iraq's liberation of the Kuwaiti people. The Republic of Kuwait received only international condemnation, and the only country that even recognized it was its occupier, Iraq. And after the conclusion of the First Gulf War, the Republic of Kuwait was dissolved. Number 7 is the Republic of Connacht, which was forged in the fires of the Great Irish Rebellions of 1798, but only ever received recognition from the French First Republic. During this year, the Napoleonic Wars were in full swing, and the French desired to undermine the British Empire. To accomplish this, they dispatched an expeditionary force to liberate the Irish from English rule. This led to the creation of the Republic of Connacht, which had its capital in the town of Castlebar and was led by its first and only president, John Moore. After the British counterattacked the French, the forces loyal to the Republic of Connacht surrendered after just 30 minutes of fighting. Number 5 is East Timor, which declared independence from Portugal in 1975, but would persist for just a mere 9 days. What happened was that a military coup in Lisbon that same year caused the Portuguese Empire to fall into disarray. Seeing their opportunity, the Revolutionary Front for an independent East Timor seized power. However, Indonesia feared that East Timor was too sympathetic to communist ideas and quickly invaded with untold brutality. East Timor fought on for a little over a week, but was eventually forced to capitulate, bringing a brief but not permanent end to the idea of independence for East Timor. Number 5 is the state of Somaliland, which existed for just 5 days in 1960. What happened was that the Protectorate of British Somaliland was granted independence as part of the United Kingdom's decolonization program. During these 5 days, Somaliland even received recognition from countries including China, France, Israel, and the Soviet Union. Queen Elizabeth II even sent a letter of congratulations stating, "I, my government, and my people in the United Kingdom wish you well on this day of independence. I look forward to a continuing and enduring friendship between our two countries." However, just 5 days later, Somaliland voluntarily united with the rest of Somalia and as a result ceased to officially exist. Number 4 is the Faroe Islands. After the conclusion of the Second World War, Denmark was liberated from German occupation, and it was unclear what was going to become of the far-flung provinces of the Kingdom of Denmark, which at the time included Greenland, Iceland, as well as the Faroe Islands. The residents of the Faroe Islands took matters into their own hands, voting 50.74% in favor of independence from Denmark, and for a whole 2 days that referendum stood. But the declaration was later annulled by King Christian X of Denmark. Later, a compromise was reached, and it was determined that the Faroe Islands would be granted home rule. And for a brief time, 2 days to be exact, the island was fully independent. Number 3 is the nation of Carpatho, Ukraine, which declared itself as an independent republic just after Nazi Germany annexed the westernmost portion of Czechoslovakia that same day. The self-proclaimed Carpatho Ukrainian government was headed by President Augustin Ivanovich Voloshin, who barely had any time to get his newfound nation's affairs in order. Law and order broke down almost immediately, and Carpatho Ukraine came to an abrupt end after less than 24 hours when Hungary annexed it. Number 2 is the Republic of Crimea, which was a very modern, yet just as short-lived nation. On March 17th of 2014, the Republic of Crimea unilaterally declared its independence from Ukraine during the earliest days of the Ukrainian Civil War. The Republic of Crimea was recognized quickly by the Russian Federation and its allies, while Ukrainian authorities continued to insist that Crimea was still just a province of Ukraine. During its existence, the Republic of Crimea switched its time zone to Moscow time, seized Ukrainian state property, and adopted the Russian ruble as its official currency. The governing body of the Republic of Crimea, which was the Crimean State Council, decided that its final act would be a formal request to become a federal subject of Russia. This request was almost immediately granted. Today, Crimea remains under the de facto control of the Russian Federation, but for a day, it did enjoy its own independence. And number 1 is the Russian Democratic Federative Republic, which was established by the democratically elected Russian Constituent Assembly. This assembly was led by Viktor Chernov of the Socialist Revolutionary Party on the 19th of January in 1918. However, the Russian Democratic Federative Republic would go on to be dissolved just 13 hours later by the All-Russian Central Executive Committee, which was led by the unelected Vladimir Lenin. During its 13 hours of existence, there was ample time to design the structure of the government of the Russian Democratic Federative Republic, as well as draft a constitution. Under these plans, Russia was to become a representative democracy, universal suffrage was to be granted to all citizens above the age of 20, and a dual system of legislatures was to govern Russia. During its 13 hours of legal existence, the Russian Federative Republic still held on to a great deal of the territory of the Russian Empire. But instead, history brought us the Russian Civil War and the Soviet Union, leaving this quirk of a nation relegated to the footnotes of history. For more top lists just like this, be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and don't forget to check out our other lists. And thanks for watching, and thanks for learning.